I call this meeting of the St. Senate to order at 5:01 p.m. Roll call, Executive Assistant Zima.
President Evers here. Vice President Weekly here. Trustee Ongara here. Treasurer Tete
Here.
Allocations Chair Stokes here. Public Relations Representative Webster here. Senator Almy here. Senator Greiger here. Senator Pelkey here. Senator Ricker here. Senator Weber here. Senator Spalding here. Senator Wen here. Senator Thomas here. Senator Weir here. Senator Robinson here. Senator Simonet here.
Moving on to letter C, opening reflection, Senator Weber.
Stand over here. Well, hello ladies, good evening. I have a kind of activity today. So it's time of year where everything's less exciting and we're all kind of settling in and getting in our grinds of school and everything. So I'm gonna just taking some time to think about one another and really lift up one another for this first 5 minutes to just kind of have some things so that we can go on with the rest of our week. So I'm passing out Post-its, and each of them have a senator's name on them. And I encourage you to write something that you admire, something that you really like their hair, or you think that they're great at this or that. It can be anything, and then we're going to share these aloud, and you're going to stand up and give your sticky to the person whose it is, and they're going to put it on their laptop or their planner or somewhere where they can look at it every day. And if I give you yours, let me know. Where they can look at it every day and just think, wow, I can do this. I'm great. I'm going to have this. So as soon as people start finishing, I can start. I'm just going to read whoever mine is aloud, and then walk over and give that person sticky. Then while the person's walking over, you can stand up, say your name. Just try to make it less Catholic as you can. So mine is Chelsea, just because she had her own, so we switched.
Yep.
Chelsea, you are so sweet and kind to everyone you meet. I'm happy to share this time on Senate sitting by you. Also, you look really great here.
Would it maybe be better instead of standing up and walking, to maybe pass them, just so we don't have to, I don't know how far you have to walk.
So I had Danica, and I love your positive energy that you bring to every room and how dedicated you are to everything you do on campus. You put your full self into everything, so I admire that about you very much.
So I have Kathy, and so I just wrote Okay, so although I already told you, I just adore your polka dot pants. It's so cute. But overall, I enjoy your fun sense of fashion because it's so unique and so full of life, just like you are.
Okay, I am Cassidy. So Cassidy, I love and admire how when you are passionate about a project or a topic, how you really throw yourself into it and make it your mission. And then also I just think it's like super cool that you're on the figure skating team. Like I'm so excited to watch that, like hockey game and to see your competitions.
I had enjoyed it. And I love your quiet confidence and bubbly laughter. They inspire me to spread the same joy I see in you to others.
Right, I had Amira, and I said, I admire how outgoing, social, loud, and confident you are. I'm very excited to work with you this entire year. You will do great things on Senate and help on your board.
I had Alexandra.
What were you kid?
I said you are intelligent, beautiful, and funny. I love how organized and put together you are, and you always seem. Thank you for being you and bringing a light to the CSB Senate.
I had Jamie. I said, I really appreciate how you give your 120% to Senate. She always gives way more than her 100%. Thank you for always trying your best and being an incredible leader. I know so many Bennies look up to you, and I personally know one who's in your class. She's like, I love Jamie so much.
I have Brianna. And so I said that you're so put together and poised, and I love your positive outlook. You're always smiling when I see you around campus, and we're just so lucky to have you with us and have you working with us this year.
I had Miss Zelda, and I said that your spunk, constant positive attitude, and smile never fail to brighten everybody else's day around you, and I think that everyone else can agree that it's very contagious, and that you rock at student activities reps.
Here. I said I had Wendy, and I said I love Wendy's passion she pours into the projects she works on and in school.
Alright, I have Sid. I said, Sid, I love your laugh and your constant presence of joy. It inspires me to do the same.
I had Stella. I said, you are super kind and confident. You are great at voicing your opinion and listening purposely to others, and I admire your determination.
I have Sarah. I said, I love your smile and how you're fun and silly, and I love working with you in the admissions office. We always bring so much joy to the office. And I wish you weren't seeing. I love you a lot.
I had Nolan. I said you're beautiful and intelligent. I love your natural leadership, and I think you have a strong influence in the world.
I had MC, and I wrote a little movie novel. Get there. So I met MC, or I had the pleasure to meet MC on my first day at St. Ben's, and so I was like super hesitant to come to school, or like not come to school, but like to be here because I didn't know anyone coming to CSB. And so we were in the same orientation group, and we ended up bonding over New York and Company shorts. And on her birthday, I like helped some friends, and we decorated it by putting this web of string everywhere. It was really probably annoying for her. And so like since then, I have just like loved watching you like go throughout campus with like your eloquence and passion, and like you just shape this campus and the world to be a better place.
Here.
So I can write as much as Zelda. So I had Libby, and Libby knows how much I love Pinterest. So I saw this today and actually thought of her before Stella's assignment. And I said, I admire your ability to think more than outside the box, but as if the box doesn't exist.
And I had Emily, and I said, first off, I do love your skirts. It shows that you're spunky, and I do value that. I also admire your dedication towards Senate, and I feel like you have a very straightforward communication manner, and I admire that.
And thanks for ordering the buses.
Thank you all for participating, and just put it somewhere we can see it every day and then return it.
Thank you. Moving on to letter D, approval of the minutes.
Second.
There's been a motion by Senator Robinson and a second by PR Representative Weir. Are there any changes today to today's agenda? To last week's minutes?
Oh, yes.
Seeing none, we'll move to vote. All those in favor of approving last week's minutes, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The minutes stand approved. Moving on to letter E, approval of the agenda.
Motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
There's been a motion by Senator Nguyen and a second by Vice President Weekly. Are there any changes to today's agenda? Senator Weir.
Motion to amend under new business, a motion to allocate 150 to Johnson County Task Force for 500 funds.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right. And without objection, the chair will accept this change. Are there any other corrections to today's agenda? Seeing none, we will move to vote. All those in favor of approving today's agenda, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The agenda stands approved. Moving on to Roman numeral 2, letter A, yes. Grace Davidson.
Hey. Okay, we're gonna start by just passing out some of the fire. Does everyone have these already?
No.
So while Grace hands those out and those go, I'll just say real quick that I'm Tanya Gertz. I'm the Executive Director of Fine Arts Programming. I've been here now for 1 year. I was here last year. I don't know if any of you remember that. And we have reorganized some things in our department, and we have this new, awesome, amazing position as our Campus Outreach Manager and Box Office Assistant, which is living out in Grace. And some of that is just a real deep, beautiful belief of really finding a way to live out our 50-50 mission of serving campus and serving community. And that liberal arts education is the perfect place for an exceptional art series that is a part of every part of your life. And that Grace is gonna work with us to help make that as real as we can possibly make it for all of our students who are here at St. Ben's and St. John's. And so that things that I dream about making, she's gonna actually make real. And she already is. So that's my introduction of Grace. We're so excited that she's here. She's in month 2 and rocking it already. So I'm gonna jump in a couple times, but mostly I want you to know Grace, and I want you to know that whether it be Grace or myself or any one of us, Grace may be our campus outreach person, but we're grateful for your work and want you to connect with us in whatever way we can.
Thank you, Tanya. So I'm really excited to be here. I know I've met a few of you around campus with different organizations. So Tanya did a great job, obviously, explaining what I do. But I'm really here to make sure that I'm here to listen to you, to make sure that you know what we have going on, and just to enrich your time at St. Ben's and St. John's. Make sure that you get to be a part of these really awesome opportunities that are so unique to this university that you will learn, especially once you get out of school, that no one else has these kind of opportunities, especially at a school this size and at the price that we are able to provide it to you for. So, did anyone make it out to see the 5 Browns last weekend? Any of our senators there? So we opened up our series last weekend with the 5 Browns. It was an amazing concert. I really, really want to push that we'd love to have you at as many of our series events as possible. I know that there is so much going on and that you probably are bombarded with like so many options. I know you're all very involved. But we also want to make sure that you know that we'd love for you to help us to be ambassadors to make sure that all of campus knows what we have and how unique it is to St. Ben's and St. John's. So did anyone make it out to anything really awesome last year? Just because I'm curious, I wasn't here. Yeah.
I made it out to see South Africa.
Yeah.
I got to see the Navy band.
Yeah.
So that contemporary ballet.
Complexion.
Yeah.
Last year we went as a Senate in the spring to see the play Stop Kiss, and it was awesome.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of, oh yeah, wait, I want to hear everything.
I loved it so much. I don't remember the title of it, but it was a projector, and it was the story of an older woman who lost her sister, and it was told through different projectors and lighting, and it was so
saw
beautiful.
Ada, right, which was done entirely with shadow puppets, and then two people who themselves become shadow puppets within the story. Yeah, it was beautiful and Hitchcockian at the same time.
Thanks for bringing that. It was great.
Thank you, yeah.
So I'm so happy to hear that you all have had really awesome experiences with our series, and I'm hoping that this year and in the future we're able to bring you even more of those opportunities. So you all have the brochure now. It's available online. If you can, I really suggest that you follow us on social media. We post so many different things about what we have going on, what's coming up next. Sometimes we give away extra cool deals. Even if you have your tickets or you're not able to go, you can help us to make sure that other students hear about what we have going on. We have a partnership with JC this semester for My Super. The code is Bring Fun, and your ticket is free. And we've sold over half of those tickets as of right now. So you'll want to make sure that you get on and get those tickets. Just kind of push those. But we also have some really awesome, unique experiences where we're bringing very strong women to our campus that are the best in their field. Just to name a few of them, we have the OK Factor coming up in just a few weeks. It's two women, kind of knows them personally, which is really awesome. Violin and cello, they play popular music that you're going to know. Some of them have their own arrangements, some of them they've taken, but they're going to perform them in a really unique way they've probably never gotten to see before. So a really awesome opportunity. That's also free for students, which is really great. I really hope to see you out for that. We've got Dinah Aracena. She is a Cuban jazz vocalist. Yeah. So that's a really male-dominated field that she has proposed to happen. We have the Reminders, who I am especially excited for. If you ever go by my office, they're often playing. Yeah, they're a really cool hip-hop group. They're bringing a dancer and a DJ, and they're going to be here for 4 days on campus doing activities with our students. Then we have Jessica Lang, which is another contemporary ballet company. So we're going to have them on campus, and I'm very excited for that. If you ever see our big poster with the woman in the very big gown, that's Jessica Lang. And then we have Lena, A Moment with a Lady, which is Sydney Winters, who she has been in Hamilton, Lion King, Pippin as leads, and she is embodying Lena Horne, who was the first African American woman to get signed by MGM. So it's going to be a really awesome night. We have a lot of other really cool performances, but I really wanted to hit on those because we'd love you to be a part of that, partner with us in some way for those performances especially, but really with anything that we're doing. But we're bringing those to campus because we want you to feel empowered to see these women who have risen to the top of their field, and they're here to perform for us. With that, we'd also love to see if there's any way that we can have a Senate member do some introductions for those, do some extra programming, see if we can partner up with any of those to provide tickets to our students. Really anything that you can think of, always feel free to
want
run
to
it.
explore. So those of you who went last year probably saw that there were students who did the introductions, and that was new last year. We would love to highlight, and see if there's a way that there's a student, someone from CSB Student Senate who would do one of our amazing women who's this year and be able to claim, and highlight your own work with the Senate, and at the same time talk about the importance of having amazing women on campus who are excelling in their fields in that kind of way. And so there's that element. We, this year, are planning, though we've not planned them, but we're dreaming about things like post-performance receptions, pre-performance opportunities, looking for possibilities to build additional ways to build community and offer context and connect our artists in ways that you might not have experienced before. So we've always had 3 to 4 times the number of activities off the stage than what you see as the big ticketed event on the stage, and about half of those have been on campus. But in addition to those, we're looking to create ways that offer places for connecting in community and having a place to talk with people who just did this really awesome thing, and share it together and have people be able to connect. So we're dreaming in lots of ways about that right now, but I want to name that to you. So if you can like percolate and be like, maybe there's a way, there's something in that would connect with us, we want to keep talking to.
Yeah, and with that, we also want to have, we're looking for a way to have kind of an open forum kind of meeting with students, and we're not sure of the best way to go about doing that or even the best time.
Can I add to this?
Yeah.
So where I was before, I every year had an open forum where all the students were invited, whoever wanted to come, to see everything I was looking at for the coming year. And so here's like a list of 130 artists, right? And 18 to 20 of them are going to be here. And people can give me like, I'm really excited about this, I'm excited about that. I don't see any acts, whatever it might be, and I would love to see that here, and creating a way for that to happen. And we started planning this more than one time last year, and it was my first year, we couldn't quite pull it off. But Grace is here now, right? She's gonna help us pull things off. And we also wanted to ask you, if we were to try and host an open forum, like probably in the next month, of open to our students, what would you recommend for the right way to format that, for how we should do that? And we would value your insight as leaders in all the different ways that you are for that for us.
Great. If you guys have are there any questions for today's guests or comments on the questions they asked you? You can put your hand up.
I know this is a lot all at the same time, so if you ever think of anything, feel free to email us too.
Senator
Is
Weir.
that like a half?
No, we do this too.
That's parliamentary procedure, so then I call on her.
Yeah.
Senator Weir.
So thank you so much for your presenting and like coming to us with your ideas or including us with your programming. Last year, I know that like the wind ensemble and like brass choir got to do that one act with the, I can't remember what group came to campus, but we got to perform with them, and that was really cool for me. And then working with the Navy band. So I guess what I'm saying here is like I love how much you're including the community in your performances. I know like, this weekend with Mukapaza coming to campus, a lot of music students got free tickets to it from it. So
Our band students? Yeah.
Yes, band students. Yes. So I'm heavy in the band community. So
are you coming?
Yes, yeah. I'm bringing 2 friends too, so it's awesome out there. Anyways, but I was saying, or what I was going to say is that off of that, maybe if you could work with some way to like after the performance, with those students, finding some way to like follow up, I don't know, like a survey. I don't know the best way to go about like when it comes to choosing the acts. The first thing I thought of was like the basketball, like you have the brackets here, and so maybe people rally behind one artist and then like, go until you get to your final 18, but that's very complicated, so maybe not that. But with that, I would turn that.
It kind of ends up being brackets behind the scenes, but at the place where we can get input, it's most helpful to get everyone's lots of different things, like that people resonate with, because the brackets end up being like when the theater department performance is and when the artist is available and whether or not the tech will work in the window that I have and if I can get anyone else in Minnesota to sign on with me. And those things you don't get to control, right?
Yeah.
But what we pursue the hardest can be amended by the enthusiasm of the input of students. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Then that's where we really want to be able to harness the opportunity to build input and build enthusiasm and craft what we're doing to be the most meaningful we can for you. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. We have all sorts of ideas about surveys, and we also know you get surveyed a lot, and so we are thinking about the best way to do that. But knowing you would love to do that, just wait, you might get one.
Vice President Weekly.
Hi guys, thank you so much for coming in. I know you probably already know this, but one of our senators is on the Fine Arts Board, and Miss Stella Weber is our member. So if you guys ever need like she's kind of our connection between the Senate and you guys. So
And make sure for just the fall, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So make sure to take advantage of having her as well. I think, and she's very interested in all those things. I'll yield my time if you want to talk about it, but we watched her in the play, so she loves that stuff.
she'll be at our advisory council meeting on Tuesday.
Yes, I will be.
Awesome, that's great.
Treasurer Tay.
Thank you so much for presenting today. I had a thought about including students in the fine arts programming. I know a lot of students, either they're very open to fine arts or they're not open to fine arts. Something that could possibly be done is like open an act. Like I know some students would be open to doing like a mini open act for like some of these artists and performances and things like that. And they'll be very open to trying out things like that. And that not only brings more students but also their friends and their new people to the event too.
I can confidently say that we actively look, like whether it be on stage or before, we are actively looking for ways to connect with our students and nurse themselves as artists and create opportunities for them. Some of our artists are more open than others, and some things have more opportunities than others. Last year we did open with Johnny Blend and CSB Beats for one of our shows. Did anyone see that? Yeah, it was pretty awesome. So for some of our things, we've been able to do that. It's not always a possibility, but sometimes it is, and we want to keep doing that. If you know any groups in particular who really would like to do that, then we can try and find the right way to do that. So that's an open invitation.
And in general, I'll be trying to meet with as many clubs and organizations on campus as I can within the next, hopefully this semester. So many, it's a little difficult, but that's awesome that there's so many people who are interested in being active on this campus. So you might hear me speak again, but if you know of any groups that would particularly like to speak with me, or you think would be like, yes, you should go straight to them, like they could really be a great connection, feel free to send me an email about that too, because those little hints really help what's going on.
And can I say one more thing? So I understand that a little birdie told me that there was conversation about looking at FAE engagement with CSB Senate this year. No.
Yes.
Yep. And so I want to be part of that. I am actively talking about engaging with students in meaningful ways around how to think about that. I have some of my staff already know that I have little mini soapboxes related about how to talk about the arts and relationships of experience our students have. And I would really love to be a part of that conversation and see how we can work together to make that real. Fine arts programming is, of course, only one way to do your FAE. You know, our theater or music department events are yet another way, as you mentioned, Stop Kiss, that you did together as a group. We think we're one of the most exciting ways. They give you opportunities that you wouldn't have otherwise, right? And I really want the conversation around arts to talk about inspiration, offering opportunities for students to get to know what we're offering, and the opportunity to do something you've never done before. That is part of why we exist here. And if you're like, I don't want to do that because I don't know what it is, that is when you should be like, I want to go see it because it's the lowest risk possible, right? And so I want to always start with the inspiration and the opportunity that's available, and I'd love to be part of that conversation as you go forward. So would be very excited to hear what you're talking about and what your ideas are.
Senator Wen.
Hi, thank you so much for coming. So an idea I have would be, so last year I was a first year, so I hosted a lot of fly-in students. And every weekend that I hosted a fly-in, there seemed to be a fine arts event going on. So the admissions office, they would give us tickets to take our students to the shows and just to encourage them to come, like, oh, look what CSB and SU you have. So I feel like that would be a really good idea to get those fly-in dates and connecting with the host students in the admissions office to get more students come to the events. And another thing was, last year at Step Africa, they had a workshop beforehand, and that was really fun because that was a dance class. And the professor offered extra credit to the dance classes, so I was just wondering if there will be more events like that where they'll have workshops before or after.
There are lots of events like that. So there are events for almost every performance that comes that are like that for people to engage. Some of which are directly with academic classes, some of which are more generally open for anybody. Most of them don't get set up as far ahead though as the performance. So we may have set up with an artist that they're going to do 3 things while they're here, and then we'll finalize that like within the month before they come, and then we'll start to advertise what's going to happen. There are a whole number of things with the Brief Wondrous Life of Oscar Wilde that's actually being connected academically. There will be workshops for sure with Jessica Lang. There is a workshop to be determined with Che Malombo, which is not African but South American, that will be at St. John's February. I'm already starting to think about 1819, so I know that sounds crazy. So there are lots of things, and maybe one of the things we need to do is get better about trying to reach people with what those opportunities are and figuring out the right way. Because everyone's always moving. We're always trying to figure out the best way for people to learn about those if you're not already connected to a class.
Yeah. And with that, kind of ties into us wanting to have more receptions and opportunities for you to meet some of our artists. So if you see someone that's coming and you're like, I would just like die if I could see them, like if I could meet them in person, or like how cool would it be, and if you know there's something else going on campus that maybe we don't know about, if we could connect, if you let us know, sometimes we can make those connections happen. Not always, but if we know about something that you guys are really excited about, we can work to, if it can't be that time, the next time that comes around, or something similar, to make those connections happen.
Senator Simonette.
Thank you both so much for coming in. I really love the idea of having an open forum because I would love to know what options
we're dreaming
you have.
about.
Yeah, I think that's really important to go off of what students would like. And you said that you did it at your previous place, and I'm just wondering what your previous place, how that was set up, and if you could give some more insights as to what your other school looked like.
We had a student leadership team there, and some of the positions that we have student workers here, so there are 60 plus student workers that make your fine arts programming season happen. Like, it is really brought to you by fellow students, right? And some of those positions were volunteer. And those students who help lead those sections and recruit the volunteers were also on our leadership team. That team then hosted the open night. And so I brought materials, encouraged everyone to bring their laptops. I brought a list that was like 5 pages long and categorized it kind of by genres. Like, if you love jazz, if you love dance, if you love, world music, whatever it might be, and put all the names out there that we're looking at and had people give us feedback. And it's not necessarily a yes or a no. It's I'm excited because I think this creates opportunities. Of all of these 3 are the ones I really am the most excited about. There's nothing on here that reflects Asian artists. Can we do that this year? Does that make sense? Yeah. And so it would be like at 8:30, 9 o'clock at night, and you always have treats, and people would come and they would stay as long or as short as they wanted. And I gave them flyers that they wrote everything down on, right? And then I took that and I actually gathered it all together, and you could passionately support anything you wanted directly to the person who would make the decisions. Does that make sense?
That's great.
Yeah.
That sounds great. And you have tried to do it here, or?
Well, I've only been here for 1 year, and last year it didn't come together because I couldn't pull any more together, and then we were too far along in the process for it to be as meaningful. And so it is one of my goals to make it happen this fall in some way. What do you think of that late night kind of thing, or is there another time that's a good time to do an invitation?
I think late night would work for some students, but definitely late night more than like 7 or something like that, because then you avoid the other conflicts. But yeah, probably.
How would students feel about it being on a weekend? Would that make it easier, or would that make it a lot more difficult to?
Probably more difficult. Say late night towards the end of the week, like a Thursday.
Okay, awesome.
Or dinner time.
Are there any other questions for our guests today? Seeing none, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Let's do one All right, moving on to letter B, Johnny Tommy Task Force. And your picture should be pulled up.
Sweet.
Hello, ladies, and John, Senator Lynch. So, as I mentioned last week, the Johnny Tommy Task Force is looking into getting buttons for the fair that we are planning on Friday, this 22nd. So that fair thing, it's not actually a fair, it's just us having tents outside the Sexton and Gretzky bus stop. So it'll be the St. Ben's tent and the St. John's tent at the respective campuses, even though they're going to be co-ran. And we will be running them from like 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Just to like maximize seeing students on that Friday before the game. And so at this tent, we'll be handing out little note cards that have a bunch of like information that we heard from Dean Connolly over the retreat about like the backpacks, water bottles, rules about the stadium that may not necessarily be known right away. But then to make it less of like a don't do this and more of like a hey, here's some information and something cool you can use at the game. Our idea was to make these buttons that we can hand out to students. So they'd be going to both Benny and Johnny students, and it's just a fun way to kind of raise school spirit and advocate for the Johnny football team. So the design will be talked about by David because he designed them.
Yeah, so basically it has a very positive message. There's no negativity associated with this button. In addition to that, there's also, it also has the Senate logos, which are pretty cool just to have a bunch of students walking around. And we threw the year on there because from the feedback I heard from some students was it's kind of nostalgic or whatever to look back on it like 20 years from now. You make it that long to be like, wow, that was a great time, great game. So yeah, that's kind of the design.
And another thing with having the Senate logos on it, it's a good like visibility PR. Like, look at we're involved in all aspects of life for the Senate. So there you are.
Are there any questions for our guests today? Vice President Weekly.
Love the branding, love that both of our logos are on there, like that we're doing this joint. I think it's awesome. I think that was one of our goals we made at the retreat was to do more joint stuff. So I think that's awesome. And a question I have is, so we will be having both Benny and Johnny Senators at St. John's and both Benny and Johnny Senators at St. Ben's?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I like that idea better. I think it's a little bit more, gets everybody rallied up.
Mm-hmm.
So, great idea. Thank you for putting this together. Sorry I can't come to the meetings because we have exact work at the same time. I have your own time.
Senator Pelkey.
I really just second what she said, basically that I like the design, but I was just wondering about are they gonna be blue? Is that the idea?
As of right now, they're blue. I mean, because the way I understood it would be, it's a red out at the end. So if you have a red shirt and a red button, like, can you see the button then? I don't know. That was my thought. So.
And then I was also wondering about the number 500. Is it just going to be hand them out until they're gone, kind of a thing?
Mm-hmm. So we have 500, or we got 1,000 in total. So the St. John's Senate funded 500 and will be funding, well, possibly funding 500. And so then we have 500 at each bus stop to pass out between 8 a.m. and 4 p.m.
Okay, so yeah, my turn.
Treasurer Tete.
I was just wondering about, would you be sending out a spreadsheet for
Yes.
sign up? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The locations haven't been booked yet, so like it's just kind of throwing this together very quickly.
Your turn.
Are there any other questions for our guests today? Seeing none, thank you very much. Moving on to letter C, open forum. Are there any guests wishing to address the St. Ben's Senate today? Seeing none. Moving on to Roman numeral 3, board reports. Letter A, president's report. Without objection, the chair will pass.
I accept.
All right. Hello, everyone. So nice to see everyone in their fitting red blouses and not super large ones. I just have a couple of things that I want to bring to your attention today. The first is just regarding parliamentary procedure, super small thing, just try to be sticking to it as much as possible. It really makes our meetings run more efficiently, and I really encourage you that if you do have questions that come up during the meeting, feel free to write it down, jot a note, and come up to me or another member of the exec board and ask us that question or bring it up in our beginning of semester meetings as well. Which brings me to my next point. There are about 6 of you that haven't signed up for beginning of semester meetings. So please sign up for that ASAP. The slots are filling up. It only goes out until Monday right now, and I would rather not have to extend it past Monday. So if you have not signed up, get on my calendar. The next thing that I want to talk about is the involvement fair. So as you all likely know, I was not actually able to be there because I was out of town for a wedding. But from what I heard, there were some difficulties with senators showing up late or not being fully engaged while they were there, just sort of standing back. And really at involvement fair, part of our job is being the greeters, which is why we're right at the door. We have such a prominent position because we're supposed to be welcoming and involving people as much as possible. So really when you sign up for shifts on those Google spreadsheets, put it on your calendar, be on time, really be accountable to what you committed yourself to. And that's also just a really important part of being a senator and being responsible and being professional. And just being willing to help each other out also as much as possible. And on that note, it's another great segue. I want to give a huge thank you to Senator Greiger. This week I went through and cleaned up the Senate office and she was a huge help to me. So I just wanted to give her props for that. And I made an inventory of our office and that will be sent out to all of you as a Google Sheets again. It's one of my favorite platforms. And so I really encourage you all to take a look at that. And when you have events coming up, look at that before buying anything. We have a lot of things in our office and in our storage, and I think that this will really help everyone know what we have and be able to find it more easily as well. So just keep that sheet updated as the year goes on and keep it in a saved location on your Google Drive. In the cloud, yeah. And the last thing that I want to talk about is just touching on the fine arts involvement from before with the invitation for us to participate in receptions and meet and greets beforehand. I just really encourage all of you to take advantage of those opportunities when they come up. I know that we get really, really busy. And it can be really difficult to take a step back and say, yeah, I'm going to do that cool thing even though I have this project due in a couple of days. But I guarantee that when you get older and you've graduated and you're looking back on your days at St. Ben's, you're not really going to remember that, maybe you will remember that one report that you did, but you'll really hold on to those special memories and those special opportunities. Yeah, and so to those of you who I haven't had meetings yet at the beginning of the semester, I'm looking forward to them. And I'm really excited to see the work that we're all going to do.
Are there any questions for President Stevens? Seeing none, the chair will pass back.
I accept. All right, moving on to letter B, advisors report, advisor Tim.
All right, just a couple quick things. We had board meetings on campus yesterday and today, and I would just like to compliment President Siebers for the presentation that she did to the whole board yesterday morning, in spite of some technological glitches up in the Gretzky. She really did a very nice job, and I think both represented the group of senators very, very well, but also was able to speak very clearly about the work of the Senate and how it connects to the larger institutional work that's being done. So it was a very impressive presentation, I think a very good way for Senate to be represented. And I also want to recognize Trustee Angaran because she spent her whole day at board meetings. And just as a person who was there listening, contributed in really very, very positive ways for things. There were several meetings today One that we included tours of residence halls in the first year area with some of the things that have been done over there. So similar to the fine arts opportunities, when the boards are here, when you have other opportunities to engage with the campus in ways that you might not normally have ever thought about or have had the opportunity to do, try not to let those opportunities pass you by. Some are formal because they're connected to your position, and others are just opportunities because we look to the Senate as a leadership group. And you're often the ones who are invited to represent students or be part of things or give your feedback. And we really do count on you and look forward to doing that. The second thing is, I was having a conversation with a student the other day, and we were just talking about something, and she said, well, AMOD ends next week. And my comment to her was, have you even unpacked yet? Like, it just seems like yesterday. Well, but I think part of it is things keep moving, right? Every day just keeps moving forward. And you can kind of tick off, we have this many meetings as a Senate, and we've had 2 now, and there was the retreat, and time will continue moving on whether you want it to or not. Make sure that you're really using the time that you have in the very, very best way possible for the work that you're doing as senators, for the work that you're doing as students and the relationships that are important to you. Time is fleeting and it will go quickly, and really the bulk of the work that you have as Senate doesn't happen on Wednesday nights. It happens between each single Wednesday night. So stay on top of what you've committed to, pay attention to what's happening with other people, and do your very best to keep track of the work that you're doing. But in addition to that, know that it is okay to step out, to step back, to opt out, to ask for help when those times come too. This is not about being superwoman or saying yes to everything. It's about managing your roles and responsibilities in the very best way possible. So I want to leave you with something that somebody told me while we were waiting for the tours to start this morning, that saying yes to everything also means you're saying no to things, right? Because you end up being so busy. So say yes to what's important and own the no's when you need to say the no, because it will open up opportunities for other things later on down the way. I return my time.
Thank you. Advisor Weiss.
So here's an opportunity for you to say yes or no. If you were on Senate last year, you know that I love books and I love recommending books. And I have one tonight called Difficult Women. And it's a book about, I'll just read the first part. Tells of heart-scrabble lives, passionate loves, and quirky and vexed human connection. The women in these stories live lives of privilege and of poverty, are in marriages both loving and haunted by past crimes or emotional blackmail. It's a book that I heard about somewhere, I can't tell you where because I don't remember, but it's a book that when hearing about it inspired me. So what I do is I go to my library account and request it, and weeks later it comes in and I have the book to read, and it has many, many requests in the library. But more than just recommending this book, what I'm really interested in recommending to you is, one, take time to read, and I consider that your me time. Your time for yourself. How many people are on the link going through your phone or whatever? But instead, pull out that book or that reading that you really enjoy. Some of the greatest names in history are people who were always reading. I think John F. Kennedy was one of them. We read about anything about him, we know he was always reading things. And second, the second message from this is find your heroes. The heroes are all around you, but find your heroes. Find your female leaders and others who inspire you, and use them to inspire you. Thanks. I return my time.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Advisor Price? And I skipped question time for Advisor Terrace, so are there any questions for her? All right, seeing none, we will move on to letters C, Executive Board Report, Vice President Weekly.
Hello, ladies. The executive board met last night, and we talked about a few things. Kind of the couple of things we talked about was just today's meeting, the agenda, everything, the guests we had coming in from Fine Arts, and the Tommy Johnny pins and all that good stuff. We talked a lot about first year elections, so get your pens out because I have lots of dates. Major props to PR Rep Webster for putting this together. So today, PR Rep Webster sent out an email to the people who signed up at the involvement fair and said, thank you for your interest in the CSB Senate and running for the first year position. Here's some info for you, just to kind of give them a touch base from them touching base with us at the involvement fair. So this Friday, packets will go out for special elections. And that is the, what's the date? 16th? Mm-hmm. So this Friday the 16th, packets go out. And then packets are due that following Friday, the 22nd. So they have a full week of next week to. Okay, thank you. So they have that full week to fill out their packets, and then they're due that Friday, the next Friday, the 22nd. And then they will have speeches on Thursday, September 28th. We're trying to lock down Fireside to do that. And then election day will be Friday, September 29th. And make sure to encourage first years you might know from other avenues of being involved on campus. Unfortunately, only first years can vote because it is first year elections. So even if you aren't encouraging someone to run, encourage people to vote. Obviously, we will be doing tabling just to encourage all the first years. We're looking into doing tabling within Mary Commons so that we can reach the many first years. And that campaign week will be the 25th through the 29th. So so those will be big weeks for us, just like having all hands on deck, helping out to find a new member to sit down at the table. We also did a little bit of recapping of involvement at the meeting. We talked about board reports and kind of went through what everyone was working on. And we talked about now that we have our blouses, we can take our pictures to put on the website and to put in the cabinet. So we have a photographer in mind and we're going through that and trying to figure out a day that works. And that is all we talked about. I return my time.
Are there any questions for Vice President Weekly?
Seeing none, thank you very much.
Moving on to letter D, co-funding board report, club allocations chair Stokes.
Alright, so CFB met on Monday the 11th, and we only made one allocation. It was to, I can't say this, Archipelago, I think. Thanks. Club for their Caribbean social, and it was $200, and that would be just for like a meet and greet and with the club, and then if you want to go, it's always free food. It's September 15th at 6 p.m. in the QA Center.
Are there any questions for club allocations chair Stokes? All right, letter E, budget update, Treasurer Tay.
Thank you. Alright, so our current budget is $55,037.90. $55,037.90. Okay, so this number does not include the 2.5% held back by the business office that is currently still on hold for capital expenditures. We're still looking for ideas. So if you have those, send them out or text me, call me, reach out to me so we can figure this out. Saturday, return my time.
Are there any questions for Treasurer Tay? Seeing none, moving on to letter F, St. John Senate update. Senator, when?
Thank you, President Steve Birch, and I want to extend my thanks to every single one of you in this room. It's very exciting to be in a room with full of empowered women, and to kind of extend like my excitement, animosity, graciousness is that I offered you guys, I baked cookies today and I offered each of you one. And so if you guys still would like cookies, I still have them after the meeting and discuss stuff, business, what have you. But aside from this, we met on September 11th and 9/20. We made 4 allocations. The first one was $1,030 to Men's Development Institute for Johnny Day t-shirts. In addition to that, that comes to the second allocation, which was $2,100 to Men's Development Institute for Johnny Day. The third allocation was $1,400 to the fire department for new uniforms. And the final allocation was, like what was mentioned before earlier today, $150 for 500 buttons for the Johnny Tommy Task Force. One final thing that happened at the meeting was that we had a presentation by Chairman Turnham regarding a project management platform, and we will be using Basecamp as our endorsement for the St. John Senate. Aside from that, I return my time.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Senator Wen? Trustee Angarag.
Thank you so much for coming. I just have a question. What's Basecamp?
So Basecamp is kind of one of the project management softwares. We've been looking at that extensively, especially during the retreat for St. John Senate. Essentially, I know a few senators here have a stronger use in Basecamp, but it's one of the options that we're exploring through IT services. Essentially what we can do, please correct me if I'm wrong, is that basically we can upload projects up there, we can see goals, everyone can take a part and see what a certain senator is working at a certain time, how far along their project is, and kind of get like response and comments. So I do not have a full answer because we have just been giving a very iceberg level of a presentation, but we're hoping to use that soon. So if there's anybody here who can clarify, I can yield my time. I yield my time to the Senator.
Oh, sorry. I used Basecamp over the summer at my job, and it was super, super helpful. So it's a really good project management tool. It allows you to break up into projects, but up into teams. So for example, co-funding board could have our own team, exec board could have their own team, and we have a general team. And it allows for you to have message boards where you can communicate between everyone, upload files. So not a Google Docs type thing, but you can upload the most recent files, and then track your progress on a project. But it's a very, very good thing, and we get Basecamp 2 free through the school. So St. Ben's Senate could get it for free theoretically. But I return my time.
Senator Robinson.
I just want to echo Trustee Conrad's thank you, and once again, thank you for the cookies, because I really need it. I return.
Are there any other questions for Senator Wen? Seeing none, thank you so much. Moving on to letter G, open forum. Are there any senators wishing to address the St. Ben's Senate? Trustee Angarag.
Hello, ladies. The Board of Trustees met yesterday, and it was a day-long meeting. We kind of just discussed board goals. President Steve Birch was there and presented on Senate goals, and it was wonderful. They were just absolutely enthusiastic about it and complimented her speaking skills. And when they kind of just discussed about campus life and student culture, kind of just very generic, but I gave a couple of suggestions here and there. It was really great. I returned my time.
Senator Pelkey.
I went to the trustee grounds and building meeting today, and we got to tour the new fields that are in development out there. So I got to see all the constructions up front, and all of the trustee members seemed very enthusiastic about all of the progress that is being made, and the new turf field looks really awesome. And then we also toured through first year buildings, just Corona and Regina, because those were the ones that got updated, and got to see the improvements that were made in there. So we turned the time.
Senator Greiger.
Kind of actually going off Senator Pelkey's point, I met with Glenn Warner. She's the director of CSB Athletics, and she just asked me to pass along a message about the first game on the new turf is going to be this Sunday at 1 p.m. and it's a soccer game. And the first 600 people actually get a free CSB t-shirt, athletic shirt with their new branding. So if you're free 1 p.m. on Sunday, she would love to see a huge student turnout, and the fields look really, really cool. So I would highly recommend that you're out if you have that time. I return my time.
Senator, Public Relations Representative Webster.
So super quick, I met with Kathy Chambers in IT Services, and she kind of walked me through what Canvas will look like and what we can use it for. So I have access to that, and just look within the weekend for that to be added to your Canvas as a class. And it might be empty when you accept it or when you see it, because I just have to build out what I think we should be using it for and everything. But just a heads up, if you see it, don't panic. It's supposed to be there.
Senator Thomas.
Yes, there was just a few out-of-state students and international students that voiced their concern about, I don't know if I should be talking to you, transportation to the Johnny Tommy game. So I just wanted to bring that up and bring it, I yield my time to specifically.
Yeah, so I was gonna say this is my board report. We are currently, board report, whatever, you know what I mean. Okay, so we are currently, we have talked to the deans about it, and so right now we are getting a survey out. It's gonna be through Facebook, it's going out tonight. We just have to make sure that things good and represents us well, to each of the student class Facebook pages, and it's gonna see how many students are interested or in need of it. Just so we have a general idea of how many buses we will need to get. So what the idea behind the transportation for all students is going to be, is going to be a link bus will bring us to the St. Cloud bus stop. Correct. Yes.
You need to make that to be the option.
Yes, it would be bringing a link bus to the St. Cloud bus stop that runs between St. Cloud and the cities. So it's kind of going to be a link to another bus stop down to the cities, which is like a very kind of complicated process, but it's the really only thing we were able to work out kind of shortened, which wasn't really important, but yeah, like anyone's end. It's just like something that's slipped. So I return my time.
Senator Weir.
Hey. Me again. So, in the past week I've had a few meetings to go to, and so I want to give a faculty senate update. So I met with the faculty senate. For those of you who were on senate last semester, you know that at the end of the year, due to the trustee situation, there was some tensions between faculty and St. Ben Senate, and so I made it a personal goal to help alleviate those tensions. So I attended their first meeting this past Thursday, and all they really talked about is they reflected on the Senate from last year's common curriculum changes. So last year the Senate was charged, and actually the faculty Senate is charged with creating the student curriculum. And so they want to update it, and they've been trying to go through this for a couple of years. And last year, the final charge they sent to the JFA, which is a Joint Faculty Assembly, and they denied the common curriculum change. And there was a lot of things that went into that, and I'm not going to go into it now. If you'd like to talk about it, I can give you all those details because I find it thrilling. But they're going to be working on that, and so their first meeting was just to kind of address what went wrong last year and what can they do better, and like how do they make sure that all their goals with curriculum and all of our goals are heard. And so they all were like very excited about our presence there, and so just finding ways to reach out to faculty about your ideas. Again, like the power of the blouse. The faculty love to hear from us, and especially when it comes to common curriculum, making sure that they know what we find important and like what we would like to see in the curriculum would always be helpful. Additionally, I met with Claire Haig and Whitney Court after that meeting to talk about elections and my goal of making more competitive elections for the St. Ben Senate because we have so many powerful women on campus. And so we threw around a few ideas, but some of what the first year's election that's coming up, so I can share those more with the election task force, and then the ones in the spring, but just to put that on everyone. If you all have ideas about how to make elections more competitive, please bring them up with us. This weekend, so meeting with the South Office and JBC, this weekend they have two great acts coming. They both come in, or they're going to be at 9 p.m. and all JBC events from now on are trying to meet at 9 p.m. just to make it consistent timing. And there's a looping artist, Haley, coming on Friday. I never tell my last name, I'm so sorry, lady. And on Saturday is a mind reader, Eric, coming, so those should be good acts to put on your calendar. For the Johnny Tommy Task Force, I'm sorry, I really did a lot this past week. For the Johnny Tommy Task Force, we met, and so one thing was about the busing, so that will be going out this evening. The buttons, which is the proposal we are voting on today, and then we're getting posters. So one is going to be from St. Ben's Senate to the St. Ben's student body, and we're going to focus our posters more so on behavior because Stop It Buzz, who we are partnering with, is going to focus more on like the alcohol consumption end of it. So if you have any ideas for posters, let us know there. We're also partnering with Fired Up Friday. And so both of those groups that we're partnering with will be joining us that Friday. So make sure that you write down and like figure out in your schedules for next Friday, the 22nd, between 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. when you can kind of work. I will be sending out a sign-up sheet for our two tables. We'll be having at the separate bus stops. For the Johnny Tommy, handing out the buttons, the brochure, informational brochure, and then Stop It Buzz is giving us gear to also hand out, and so is Fired Up Friday, just to make it more of a fun deal. So yeah, if you have any ideas that you want to talk to me about Johnny Tommy, again, please let me know. And then just to say that the Joint Club Board is meeting tomorrow, which is our first meeting, which is very exciting. We have 7 new clubs to vote on, which is crazy. So with all of that, I return my time.
Thank you. Senator Robinson.
I just want to give you guys a couple updates on what's going on with Women's Month as well as the Benny Closet. So with Women's Month, we are going to go forward with the Women's Only Career Expo. We haven't exactly figured out who exactly is going to be there just because we don't want to overlap with experiential programming and learning. So if you guys have any ideas or if you're on that committee with myself, I'm meeting with IWL next Monday, so we can meet sometime before then. Also with the Benny Closet, we've decided, Mary Geller has put a very big emphasis on it's not for everyone. And that means that it's for people who need it, not people who, oh, I need a blazer real quick, or oh, I need to borrow some shoes, or I need blouses. It's strictly for people who need it, and we're gonna work through a referral system. So you have to go through myself, the Alumni Access Board, and I believe that's Valerie Jones, Hannah Salto, or Mary Geller to be able to get access to that closet. And the big thing she wants on behalf of us is if we could figure out a way to either pay for the things to be sent to laundry, or if we could set up a service for that to be done. She hasn't exactly gone over the logistics with me yet, but I'm hoping after our joint Senate meeting I have all my requests in by then. And then the last thing is for Natural Beauty Month. They want to do more than just a t-shirt and filter this year. So they're brainstorming at new ideas. If you guys have any ideas, bless you. If you have any ideas on what you want to do with that, bless you. You're welcome to do that. Mary.
Thank you. Senator Simonet.
Yes, tomorrow there's an incredible event. It's going to be from 7 to 9 in the Pelgreen. It is This Changes Everything. So the St. John's University and St. Ben's Sustainability, both of the Sustainability Office, are sponsoring a climate change monthly series called Sustainability Speaks. So I'll be there 7 to 9 tomorrow, so everyone should come. So it looks like an incredible film, really, and what did it say? It says, an empowering film that asks, what if confronting the climate crisis is the best chance we'll ever get to build a better world? So let's ponder that question tomorrow. I return my time.
Are there any other senators wishing to address the Senate? All right, moving on.
I have
Senator Weber.
question. On the announcements, we're meeting with the joint Senate on Monday. And do we have another Senate meeting on Wednesday?
No, we do not. That should be stricken from the agenda. Thank you. All right, moving on to Roman numeral 4, new business, letter A. Motion to allocate $150 to the Johnny Tommy Task Force for 500 buttons.
So moved. Second.
There's been a motion by Senator Spalding and second by Vice President Weekly. Senator Spalding, your first speaking turn.
So I love the idea of the buttons. I think it's a great positive image, and that's a big thing that Tommy Johnny sometimes lacks. So I think that having this button with both the St. Ben's and St. John's Senate logo on it, along with this positive message, is a great way to get our names out and also to encourage that positive behavior. And then my other point is that I love that they're going to be passing it out with information. So people are getting information while also going there because they know that they can get the buttons. So with that, I return the time.
The floor is now open to debate. Are there any senators wishing to debate this motion? Seeing none, we will move to vote. All those in favor of motion to allocate $150 to Johnny Tommy Task Force for 500 buttons, please signify by raising your hand. All those opposed? Abstentions? This motion passes 15-0-1. Moving on to Roman numeral 5, announcements. There will not be a meeting of the St. Ben's Senate next Wednesday. However, there will be a joint meeting on Monday, September 18th. Write that down. At 9:20 p.m. at St. John's. And letter B. Senator Wen will attend the next St. John's Senate meeting on Monday, September 25th at 9:20 p.m. Moving on to Roman numeral 6, adjournment. Motion to adjourn. Second. There's been a motion by Treasurer Tate and a second by Senator Robinson. All those in favor of adjournment, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Meeting is adjourned.